Most businesses know that they need to build trust. They talk about delivering great work, keeping promises, communicating, and providing an excellent experience. That all matters. Of course it does. However, trust isn't just built on the final result. It's built through a series of smaller moments throughout the engagement and things that start long before your customer actually receives whatever it is, the final thing they purchased, especially if we're talking about a service, consulting, a program. We're not so much talking the simple one-off transaction here, although those are important too, and I'll share something about that in a little bit. See, these moments, they're called trust deposits. They tell someone, hey, you made a great decision. You're in capable hands. You're safe here. We know you're here. We're paying attention. And perhaps most importantly, you don't need to wonder what's going to happen next. We're going to take care of that. We're going to make sure that you know. Welcome to Trust Leaks, the podcast where we uncover the small breakdowns that quietly cost businesses trust, loyalty, referrals, and revenue. I'm Sandra Martini, and while most episodes focus on where trust is lost and where trust breaks down, we're going to flip it around a little bit today, and we're going to talk about ways that businesses can deliberately increase trust, starting with the very first experience a customer has with your business. Because trust isn't just something that you protect, it's something that you actively and intentionally create. So let's talk about these trust deposits that many businesses skip. One of the first things on the most important trust building opportunities happens immediately after someone chooses you. And that might be after they make a purchase. That might be after they sign a contract, they book an appointment, they register for an event, they join a program, or they simply take the next step in your sales process, whatever that might look like. This is the moment when the customer's excitement and uncertainty often exist at the exact same time. They might feel confident enough to have said yes, but they also might be wondering, did this go through? What happens now? Did I choose the right company? Who's going to contact me? When will I receive what it is that I purchased? So a strong initial experience answers those questions before the customer has a chance to ask them. It confirms their decision, it provides direction and momentum, and it reassures the customer that the experience they thought they were promised actually happens. Did you promise it? Maybe yes. Maybe it's only in their subconscious that they think you promised it. Or maybe they thought you promised it by virtue of them handing you their credit card. You don't know. What you do know is that they think something is coming. So we want to make sure that they are pleasantly surprised by that. The payment goes through, the agreement's signed, the appointment's booked, and then there's silence. Even that short period of silence can create uncertainty and buyer's remorse. The latest statistic I've read around buyer's remorse is that it kicks in immediately from all the things that we've already discussed, and it can last up to 3 days after the initial purchase or next step or agreement signing, where they're going, did I do it? Did I not do it? Should I have done it? What's next? Why haven't I heard from anyone? And they just go in their heads. So we want to make sure that doesn't happen. It's not that anything's gone wrong, it's just nothing has happened to reinforce their decision, whether purchase or signing or what have you. So this is why the first trust deposit is so simple. Acknowledge the decision. Acknowledge the decision that they made. Let them know that you received their order, their registration, their agreement, their request, their payment, and then tell them exactly what happens next. Not vaguely, not, hey, thank you, someone's going to be in touch with you soon. No, tell them who or what department is going to be in touch with them, how will they be contacted, and when they should expect it. One of my clients is currently hosting a big event this September. And one of the things that they do when someone comes in and they purchase a ticket, immediately they get a welcome email. So they purchase the ticket, and the thank you page says, we are so excited. We're looking forward to seeing you in this particular state in September. We're going to be doing A, B, and C. Here's a quick little rough agenda of the days, and go check your email within the next 5 minutes. You're going to get a full confirmation email, including hotel room block information, airport information, blah, blah, blah. So immediately after they click buy, They're given all this information and then told, don't worry, here's the information, but it's okay. You're going to get an email with this exact same information. Then the company also took that same confirmation email, put it into a letter, and snail mails it out to the person. Now they've got everything they need on a piece of paper, in addition to in their email box, just knowing how emails can get buried over time. See, the customer should never need to wonder whether their relationship with your business has officially begun or what their next step is. And that leads us to the next trust deposit. It's clarity, making sure that the customer knows exactly what is happening next. Don't make them search for emails, log into multiple systems, or remember that something was mentioned briefly during a call. Make the next step super simple and obvious. If they need to complete a form, give them one link. If they need to attend a meeting, confirm the date. If they're waiting for your team, whatever it is, make sure they know what that next step is. And if nothing more is required from them, great, say that too. Same client has a small event coming up this month. And what we're doing is there are prep calls for the people that are going to be attending that event. So they register, they get their confirmation email that says, hey, prep call number 1, prep call number 2, date, time, link. Go put them on your calendar. And then same thing, hard copy mailed via the postal service. And it's just making it as easy as possible for them to have everything they need. Then the company sends them calendar invites just to be safe. Someone calls to confirm that everything is all set, they're good, and they got them, and they get text reminders on the day before and the day of. These people know when that call is going to be. And whether they make it or not, the company has done more than its share to ensure everything is easy and obvious. And if they don't need to do anything, then it's simple. You can say, you know what? You don't need to do anything right now. Our team will reach out to you on Thursday. Because all of a sudden, that sentence, that clarity of what's next and when, even if the what's next is just that you're going to hear from us, it removes uncertainty. We don't like uncertainty. Reducing or removing uncertainty is one of the fastest ways to increase trust. People feel much more confident when they understand the process. They feel cared for when they can see that someone has thought through what they might need, anticipated it, and delivered it even before they actually expressed a need for it. This is where welcome gifts, onboarding packages, or what Dan Kennedy calls shock and awe packages can be incredibly effective. When they're done well, they create a tangible moment of not just reassurance, but excitement. The package says, we're glad you're here. We appreciate your decision. This relationship matters to us. We want to make this easy and we want you to be happy. So a physical package can stand out even more today because pretty much everything is digital. Very few companies show up in someone's mailbox. So when you do, it makes a difference. We're doing that with a client right now where we're showing up in their customers' mailboxes, but rather than it just being a bland white envelope, it's a bright green 8x10 envelope. They're going to see that. They're going to open it. I've seen shock and awe packages that immediately elevate the experience. They reflected the brand, they were relevant to the customer, they helped the customer prepare for whatever's next, and they made the person feel as though they've joined something intentional. And I want to show you one. This is from Rise. So Rise Superfood Company. When you open the box, you have nice little instructions showing you how to prepare, showing you how to do everything. And then while what I purchased was Rise mushroom coffee, what also came was a sampler of their superfood creamer, a scoop, so pre-measured scoop of a beautiful 1 tablespoon scoop on beautiful wood, and 2 more ands, and a stirrer for the coffee, and this wonderful, I guess 16-ounce, whatever it is, Rise travel mug. All of these were in this box, nice, sturdy, and again, showed me everything. This was the first purchase I ever made from them. And as soon as I received it and I opened it, I was like, wow, okay, I haven't even tasted the coffee yet. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. What I do know is that they have thought through this and they have made it extremely easy for me to make myself a cup of their mushroom coffee. Okay, the only thing they haven't done is boil the water and give it to me. I've got the cup, the measuring spoon, the coffee, the creamer, the stirrer. Hello. And instructions on how to put it all together. That is a beautiful shock and awe package. What made that shock and awe package such a delight is not just the items that were in it, but the thought that went behind each of them. Each of them reinforced my decision or helped me participate, helped me use their product much easier. I don't have to look for a spoon. I don't have to wonder about measurements. They took all of those questions and decisions away from me and said, here, add hot water. You're good to go. See, this experience, it felt generous, organized, and truly connected to the experience they wanted me to have, which was to sit down with a cup of their coffee and just enjoy it. That is a trust deposit, a beautiful trust deposit. Let's talk about when shock and awe goes wrong. Okay, a couple of instances, because it can also create the opposite effect. Just because you send something doesn't automatically create trust. If you give me a box full of promotional items, it just feels like marketing clutter and sales. Ugh. A package that arrives weeks after I started feels a little disconnected to the experience. And an expensive gift could actually create discomfort or confusion if I'm still waiting for something that's much more important to me that's tied to whatever the thing that I invested in you with. Okay, so a beautiful package doesn't compensate for confusing onboarding, missed commitment, or a lack of communication. Here's a simple example. So I purchased refillable deodorant. I'm hiding the brand on this side. I purchased refillable deodorant and I thought, this is great, better for the environment. I just get my little piece of deodorant that I put inside and I'm good to go. And the case I keep. However, the deodorant that they sent me to go with the case doesn't fit. So I literally had to take the little piece of deodorant, chop part of it off to get it to fit into their holder. And I'm sure it was just a product defect for this one. But this was my first purchase of this. There will not be a second purchase. So rather than happily refilling this for years to come, this will go in the recycle bin because I'm disappointed. And I was very excited. I was not excited about the coffee. It was, oh, let me try it. I am now excited about the coffee. I was very excited about my recycled deodorant. I am not anymore. And recently I signed up for an opt-in on someone's list and they sent me some books. And I'm curious about the industry. I'm not like all gung ho, ready to just dive in. I'm curious. So I ordered the opt-in, no cost, and I'm expecting a small book, a guide, something along the lines of maybe something like this. You know, easy to consume, physical. Instead, what I received was a 225-page book plus three other books. And wow. Now rather than be excited about it, I feel overwhelmed. So the intent was fantastic. The reality was completely different because you've taken someone, me, who was curious and turned me into, whoa, okay, I got to set aside like a week to go through all of this, and I don't even know if I'm really strongly interested. So shock and awe packages can work either way. They can work for you or they can work against it. When the welcome's impressive and the delivery that follows is disorganized, that contrast can magnify that something is not right because the package creates an expectation and it can be a fantastic one with Rise, or it can be a not so great one like with the deodorant. The company has to fulfill the positive expectation. So let's pretend that Rise sent me this beautiful package, which they did, and let's pretend that the coffee was just atrocious. And I can't say that because I haven't tried it yet, but let's just say that it was. There's a huge disconnect for me there. Let's pretend that this worked. Let's pretend that the package is pretty, the deodorant fit inside, everything is nice, and I open it up and the deodorant just all crumbles and falls out. Okay, again, a disconnect. So before you create a shock and awe package, you want to make sure you ask, does it help the customer feel welcomed? Does it help them take the next step? Does it make something easier for them? Or does it somehow contribute to their values, such as this guy here? Would the customer value these items, or are we sending them because we want to look impressive? So the company with all the books, for example. Do I want all of those items? Do I value them? I might if I was heavily interested. I'm not there yet. So that might be a great shock and awe package down the road. As of right now, I'm not impressed. I'm overwhelmed. I know that's not the intent. See, trust isn't increased by how much you send, it's increased by how well the gesture supports the relationship and or, depending on your purpose, makes it easier for the person, for the customer or potential customer to take that next step. All right, still with me? Another trust deposit that businesses often overlook is showing people when progress is happening. This is such a gimme. Customers don't need a major update. Sometimes they just need evidence that the process is moving. And we talked about this in episode 23 and 24 a bit. We want to make sure, hey, here's a message that shows you we received everything, we're good to go, and we've started the review. We'll be in touch with you next week. Or my favorites are when I order something online and I get an email that says, we got your order, we're preparing your order, we'll let you know when we ship it out. And then the next day I get an email that says, we've shipped it out, here's your tracking number. Love those because then I know it's actually happening and it wasn't lost in the internet somewhere. These updates, they might seem minor from inside the company, but to the customer, they provide reassurance. Again, as we mentioned earlier, silence creates uncertainty. It also creates space for assumptions, and those assumptions usually aren't positive. Visible progress replaces those assumptions with information. It's especially important when the customer will not get the final result, whatever it is, for several days, weeks, or months. Don't make them wait until the end of the experience to show that how reliable and how great your service or your product was. Let them see it all along the process. And then one of the strongest trust deposits there is. This is demonstrating that you listened. I know it sounds simple. A simple example, using your name correctly. Remember why they came to you. Reference some important goal that they shared and avoid asking them to repeat information they've already provided. Simple example, a couple of years ago, I was in the market for a new home and I was having the house built. And I was down to looking at two different builders, debating between the two of them. And while I liked the house design on Builder A little bit more than Builder B, when I went to Builder A, after several meetings, they couldn't get my name right. They kept calling me something else. They would text me a different name in addition to call it me at face to face. And that, which seems little in a way, but that made me say no. Even though you have a slightly lower price, even though I like your home structure a little bit more, I'm going here. Because if you, after several conversations, can't get the detail of my name right, I'm certainly not trusting you to the details of my home. And I told them why I wasn't choosing them. And they thought I was making a mountain out of a molehill. And that's okay. They just didn't get my business. See, customers, we want to make sure that we want to feel like you understand us, like businesses understand us. We shouldn't feel as though every time we speak to the company, it's their first time hearing from us. When we have to explain our situation or our name repeatedly, it suggests that the company may have collected information, but they're not actually using it. So when your team remembers and applies the information that the customer shared, it communicates something very, very different. We were listening. You matter beyond your credit card. We understand what you're trying to accomplish, and we're here to support you. That is a very meaningful trust deposit. It's personal. And often It costs nothing more than the attention and reliable internal process. This is where having a good CRM, customer relationship management system, is key. And if you don't have a CRM, have a darn good spreadsheet, something that you can easily look things up. Next trust deposit, telling the truth even before you have to. So trust can actually increase when a company communicates honestly before the pressure forces the conversation. Made a mistake? Own it. Deadline getting pushed? Let the customer know before the deadline passed. Did the customer misunderstand something? Clarify it respectfully. And if you don't yet have an answer to a question, say that and let them know, hey, I don't have an answer to that. I need to check with someone. I'm going to get back to you tomorrow. Okay, just own it. Businesses will occasionally delay these conversations because they're afraid of losing trust, where the opposite is actually true. The delay causes more damage than the original issue. Honesty delivered early tells the customer, hey, we're not hiding from this. We are totally on it. We respect you enough to keep you informed. You're going to hear important information from us and not discover it by yourself. True, the customer might be disappointed. However, the way that you handle it can still increase their trust in you. For example, I have a friend who works for a boat parts company, and sometimes they have to tell the customer that, hey, we know that we promised you your part would be here on Wednesday. It's not going to be here till Friday. And it had nothing to do with the company. One of the shipping companies lost it, made a mistake, did something, or the supplier on the end did something. And rather than the customer showing up Wednesday and being like, where's my part? They're like, they give a call and they say, hey, we want to let you know this happened. We're tracking it. We're on top of it. And we're going to let you know as soon as we know the date it's going to be delivered. Okay. Doesn't mean the customer's happy. However, they're informed and they know exactly what's going on. See, trust overall, it's not built with one big impressive gesture. It's built through repeated evidence, clear welcome, an immediate confirmation, a visible next step, thoughtful package, proactive update, owning any mistakes, remember details. These are all trust deposits. And you can see some of them are very small and they stack. And it's that stacking, it's trust deposit, 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 deposit. And these all reduce uncertainty and reinforce the customer's decision to work with you. So take a look at the beginning of your customer experience. And that doesn't necessarily mean after they've paid you. It could be an opt-in process. It could be the welcome on your website. What happens immediately after someone says yes to whatever your call to action is? What do they receive? What do they know? What have you told them? What are they likely wondering? That's the big one. And what could your company do in that moment to make trust easier for them to give you? Because the strongest customer experiences do more than avoid trust leaks. They intentionally create reasons to trust. If today's episode resonated with you, please like and subscribe or follow. It really helps the algorithm share it with others. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.